Is it time for Jamaica's government ministers to stop juggling 2 and 3 businesses on the side while being paid to run the country? Why can't Jamaica's cabinet ministers be content with their wages, especially when those wages are already among the highest in the entire Caribbean? Today, we're going to look at the issue of political salaries, side businesses, and the serious question of whether Jamaica's leaders are truly prioritizing the country's progress or their own personal wealth. Let's start with the facts. Jamaica's politicians are the highest paid in the Caribbean. Yet, Jamaica is one of the poorest states in the region, ranking just above Haiti, which is considered a failed state. Here's the shocking part. Jamaica's prime minister and cabinet ministers now earn salaries comparable to politicians in the United Kingdom, the 5th richest country in the world. But while the UK Prime Minister manages an economy worth more than $3 trillion, Jamaica's Prime Minister oversees an economy worth just about $20 billion. That means the UK economy is over 150 times larger than Jamaica's. Despite this glaring difference, Jamaica's Finance Minister, Nigel Clark, decided it was appropriate to raise cabinet salaries by nearly 300%. These raises pushed their pay packages to a level that almost mirrors those of UK ministers. So here's the question. How can Jamaica justify paying its politicians world-class salaries when the country's economy is nowhere near world-class? But the story doesn't end with high salaries. On top of this, many of Jamaica's cabinet ministers, including the Prime Minister himself, are involved in side businesses to increase their personal wealth. Now let's pause for a moment and think about this logically. At the end of the day, when a minister goes home at night, what occupies their mind? Are they thinking about solving the country's problems, fixing bottlenecks at the Cornwall Regional Hospital, speeding up long-delayed highway projects, or improving healthcare and education? Or are they thinking about their own private businesses, about whether their investments are secure, whether their managers are trustworthy, or whether their companies are making a profit? Human nature tells us that people protect their own interests first. That means side businesses will always compete for attention with the nation's business. Some politicians argue that they've hired managers to run their companies, and therefore their attention isn't divided. But let's be real, especially in Jamaica's cultural context where trust and accountability are often in short supply, no owner is going to simply leave their business unchecked, and that is exactly where the conflict of interest begins. Jamaican politicians need to realize something. They are already highly paid. The problem isn't a lack of personal income. It's the lack of focus, efficiency, and discipline in governing. Major projects across the country are consistently delayed, taking years longer than planned. Hospitals, highways, housing projects, you name it, and chances are it's behind schedule. If cabinet ministers put the same energy into the country's projects that they put into their own businesses, Jamaica could be far ahead today. Politicians should be militant in how they run the country's affairs. The same way they fight to protect their wealth, they should fight to protect the wealth of the nation. And this is not just a political issue, it's also a moral one. Over 2,000 years ago, John the Baptist gave soldiers a simple instruction: be content with your wages. Jamaica calls itself a Christian country, yet our leaders seem more focused on personal gain than on serving the people. If Jamaica truly wants to honor its Christian values, our leaders must practice contentment with their salaries and shift their focus entirely to building up the country. While ministers enrich themselves, ordinary Jamaicans suffer. Across the island, there are hundreds of thousands of unskilled people who desperately need permanent, full-time jobs and decent housing, all across Jamaica. Why are literacy rates still so low in Jamaica? Why do so many citizens remain unskilled and underemployed? The answer lies in decades of corruption and poor governance. The people should not be blamed. They were failed by a system that didn't give them the education, training, or opportunities they deserved. Instead of chasing more personal wealth, politicians should focus on providing large-scale employment opportunities. For instance, Jamaica has enormous potential in the tourism sector. Imagine if the government give out franchises to foreign direct investments in building 20 mega resorts, each with 10 hotels of 1,000 rooms. That would mean 200 new hotels of 1,000 rooms each across the island. Such a move would create hundreds of thousands of jobs for unskilled workers, giving people in their 30s and 40s stable employment for decades. This would not only reduce poverty but also allow parents to feed and educate their children properly, creating a brighter future for the next generation. So, let's summarize. Jamaican politicians are already being paid some of the highest wages in the Caribbean, yet they continue to chase side businesses and private wealth. Meanwhile, national projects stall, corruption grows, and ordinary Jamaicans are left struggling to survive. It's time for our leaders to make a choice. Either focus on personal wealth or focus on Jamaica's wealth, but you cannot do both. The country deserves full-time leadership, not part-time attention. Jamaica needs leaders who are content with their wages and committed to the people. Leaders who will stop juggling side businesses and start fighting bottlenecks. Leaders who will build jobs, housing, and opportunities for the people of this nation. Because at the end of the day, Jamaica doesn't need richer politicians. It needs a richer country. Thank you for watching another episode of my series. Jamaica needs 20 giga hotel resorts to match the average Caribbean tourism visitor numbers per capita. Some key features of the UK pound 50 billion repatriation funding program are A, 20 giga hotels resorts to be built across Jamaica over the next 10 years, 14 to be built on the south coast and 6 on the north coast, B, providing 300,000 permanent full-time jobs for low-skilled citizens in rural parishes across Jamaica, and earning an extra $10 billion each year for Jamaica. C, 300,000 affordable housing units to be built over the next 10 years. 30,000 houses to be built each year. D, franchises for the first 100 large, all-inclusive hotels will be given to FDI, foreign direct investment, over the next 1 to 5 years, 2025 to 2029. E, each hotel costing approx. UK pound 200 million to build, totaling UK pound 40 billion. All paid for by the FDI, the repatriation money coming back to Jamaica. F, a national living wage to be established in Jamaica, raising the current minimum wage by 15% each year, reaching $30,000 per week by 2030. Payable to all hotel workers on minimum wage. G, Jamaica agriculture need to start growing by 20% every year for the next 10 years and beyond. This is to create stability in the country as the tourism industry start growing by 20% every year for the next 10 years. Let us know what you think in the comments below, but please, keep your comments respectful. God bless you. God bless the Jamaican Parliament, and God bless Jamaica. Until the next video, peace and love.